Good evening, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.
It is the first Shabbos of the new year, 5783, and it's the last Shabbos of September. Funny how that coincides, right? But it was a beautiful, absolutely stunning day here in Huntington. I'll take a dozen of them to store up for later, but it was absolutely beautiful and remains absolutely beautiful outside right now. So with Shabbat, can't get any better. Can't get any better. The first Shabbat of the new year, a beautiful early autumn day. I'm telling you, Dennis is here. I'm telling you, he couldn't be happier if he were twins. And and he gets it. He knows that.
Absolutely.
So, all right, let's begin as always with benching licht, and we'll have Judy again. You'll find the reading on page 3, the bracha on page 2.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As the brightness reminding in our own day, be among those who kindle the light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher krishanu b'mitzvotav v'zivanu l'hadagmir shel Shabbat.
Amen.
All right, let's continue on page 9. Page 9 with the responsive reading at the top. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain.
On Shabbat we seek not to acquire but dear.
There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted.
On Shabbat we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation.
There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others.
On Shabbat we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal.
So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. Let's turn to page 20 as we continue welcoming the Shabbat. About this time in Tzfat, the Mekubalim, the mystics, would be getting dressed in their white levushim, in their white begadim, their white clothes, and they would go out into the hills. And if you've never been to Tzfat, you're missing one of the great, beautiful places in the world. And they would go out into the hills as the sun was setting. They're up north in the Galil, and they would watch the sun set, and they would sing, and they would recite psalms, and they would wait until the Shabbos bride was with them, and then they would go back and have the evening service. And one of the songs that they would sing with great gusto is Lecha Dodi, penned by one of their own, Shlomo Halevi Alkabetz, one of the great Mekubalim from Tzfat, one of the great mystics from Tzfat. And we'll continue that on top of page 20. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 Pnei Shabbat nekabila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 Pnei Shabbat nekabila. Shamor v'zachor v'dibor echad, Hishmianu el hamiuchad. Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, l'shemo tiferet ve'litila. Lecha dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 Pnei Shabbat nekabila. Lecha dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 Pnei Shabbat nekabila. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha, ki mekor ha'biracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh v'machshavat tefila. Lecha dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 B'nei Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likrat kala yalala 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 B'nei Shabbat nekabela mikdash melech yirmilucha kumitzeim tochapecha Rav lakshevet bi'emecha bacha Vehu yachamol alaychem la Lecha dodi likrat kala yalala 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 B'nei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kala yalala 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 B'nei Shabbat nekabela Iknari me'afar kumi Lifshi bigdeiti fardechami Al yad benishai beita lachmi Korva el nafshi nafshi gehala Lecha dodi likrat kala yalala 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 B'nei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kala yalala 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 B'nei Shabbat nekabela Hitorari Kiva ha'orei kumi Ori shirda beri Kevod Adonai alayich nigla Lecha dodi likrat kala yalala 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 B'nei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kala yalala 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 B'nei Shabbat nekabela Lo tevoshi v'lo tikolmi Mati hishtochachi umatehemi Bahach yechasu aniyehi ami Lenivneta iratila Lecha dodi likrat kala yalala 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 B'nei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kala yalala 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 B'nei Shabbat nekabela V'hayu l'shimsa ha'shosayich V'rachaku kol mevalayich Yasis alayich Elohayich Kimsos chatan al kala Lecha dodi likrat kala yalala 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 B'nei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kala yalala 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 B'nei Shabbat nekabela Yamin usmotiv rotzi V'et Adonai taritzi Al yad ish ben partzi V'nismecha v'nagila Lecha dodi likrat kala yalala 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 B'nei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kala yalala 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 B'nei Shabbat nekabela Boi v'shalom ateret balak Gam v'simcha uv'sohola Toch emunei am segula Boi chala Lecha dodi likrat kala yalala 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 B'nei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kala yalala 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 B'nei Shabbat nekabela Page 22, let's read together the outdented paragraph in English Near the bottom of the page, verses from Psalm 92. A psalm, a song for Shabbat. It is good to praise Adonai, to sing hymns to your name, O Most High, to proclaim your steadfast love at daybreak, your faithfulness each night. With a 10-stringed harp, with voice and lyre together, you have gladdened me by your deeds, Adonai. I shout for joy at your handiwork. How great are your works, Adonai! How very subtle your designs. A brute cannot know, a fool cannot understand this. Tzadikah ha'yifra, ke'erez balmanon yiskeh, shetulim beveit Adonai, b'chatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu. O Jehovah, Beseva, B'Shenim v'Ra'ananim yiyu le'hagid, Ki Yashar Adonai, Zuhuri v'lo havlatabo. Page 24, Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharim, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seifchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Page 146. We'll begin the Arvit service, the evening service for Shabbat, with Baruch Hu. Page 146. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai,
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam Va'ed. Let's read together the English on page 147. Adonai, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom. Day follows day in endless succession, and the years vanish, but your sovereignty endures. Though all things pass, let not your glory depart from us. Help us become co-workers with you, and endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'ma'ariv Arabim. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha Hafta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadita. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, Shofeinu ufkumeinu, Nasiach bechukecha, V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, u'b'mitzvotecha, le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu v'yorech yameinu, v'yorech yameinu, Uvahem nehege yomam v'layla, יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו עולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת ושבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Let's read responsively, page 151. We worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all.
Yet that oneness eludes our grasp as imperfection and evil abound.
Before our eyes there is a vision of perfection, order, and goodness.
There is evil enough to break the heart, and there is good enough to exalt the soul.
When will redemption come?
When we grant everyone what we claim for ourselves.
Long ago we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High.
We learned God's presence redeems time and event, so we celebrate this power that makes for freedom.
Top of 152. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar ba'kodesh, nohora tehilot osef ele, malchutecha ra'u manecha, bokeyam lifnei Moshe, zeli anu v'amru, Adonai yimloch לעולם בועד, ונאמר כי יפאר אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל. Top of page 153, first two lines of Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, V'ha'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, V'ha'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Three together in the English. Give us a place to rest, O God. Shelter us in the long, soft evening shadows of your truth. You are true protection and safety. In your presence we find love and acceptance. Watch over us as we go forth. Set forever for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, aporei suchat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. Top of page 154, verses from the book of Exodus. Vishamru, it's not Shabbat without it. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת. לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ויהי ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת. לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת. לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת. לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. We're at the Amidah, pages 155, 156, and 157. We'll chant together, and then we'll go silently so you can finish the Amidah either in the Hebrew or the English, or offering up your own meditative prayer. And since this is Shabbat Shuvah, please pay attention to the insertions. Adonai sifatai tikach uvi agi tehilatecha. Adonai sifatai tikach uvi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Ha'Gibor, Ha'Torah, El Yod, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, וקונה הכל, וזוכר מעשי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גואל בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. זוכרנו לחיים, מלך חפץ בחיים, וקודנו בספר החיים, למענך אלוהים חיים. מלך עוזר מושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הקהל. מחלקם חיים בחסד, בחיי מתים ברחמים רבים. צומח נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בגבורות, ונדון בהלך, מלך ממיት ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה. מי כמוך אב הרחמים, זוכר יצריו לחיים ברחמים. ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים, ברוך אדוני מחיי המתים. המלך הקדוש. So completing your Amidah, please take your own pace, take your time. We're going to continue on page 160, reading together in the middle. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may we all live in such a way that this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh Shabbat. Page 163, let's read responsibly at the top. For the good in us, which calls us to a better life, we give thanks.
For the strength to improve the world with our hearts and our hands, we offer praise.
The desire in us, which leads us to work for peace, we are grateful.
For life and nature, harmony and beauty, for the hope of tomorrow, all praise to the source of being.
We'll close out the Amidah with the prayer for peace. Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Hamcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Hamcha Tasim Le'olam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Hamcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Hamcha Tasim Le'olam. V'tov b'necha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol heit u'b'chol shah b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Hamcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Hamcha Tasim Le'olam. Tasim Le'olam. Tasim Le'olam. And in the English, in the very small print in the second indented paragraph, let's read together. Remember to inscribe us in the book of life for blessing, peace, and prosperity. Include all your people, Israel, for a good life and peace. Blessed is Adonai, source of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, oseh shalom. Now we'll jump ahead to the Mishaberach, page 253. If you have anybody who needs a little extra healing this Shabbat, keep them in your thoughts and close to your heart. Mishaberach Avotenu Mikor HaBracha Imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach Imotenu Mikor HaBracha La'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Pages 258 and 259, prayers of our community. Mari, the prayer for our congregation, please. Top of 258.
Source of all being, may the children of this community learn these patience from us, love of Torah, devotion and prayer, and support of the needy. May we guide with integrity, and may our leadership be in your service. May those who teach and nourish us be blessed with satisfaction, and may we appreciate their time and their devotion. Bless us with the fruits of wisdom and understanding, and may our efforts bring fulfillment and joy.
Baruch atah Adonai, she'otecha levacha v'yira na'avod. Dennis, how about the prayer for our country?
Thus says Adonai, this is what I desire, to unlock the fetters of wickedness and untie the cords of lawlessness, to let the oppressed go free, to break off every yoke. Share your bread with the hungry, take the wretched poor into your home, and when you see the naked, give clothing, and do not ignore your own kin. If you banish the yoke from your midst, the menacing hand, the evil spirit, if you offer compassion to the hungry and satisfy the famished creature, then your light shall shine in darkness.
Shalu, Shalom, Yerushalayim, Yishlayu, Obayich. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper. Avinu, Shabashamayim, Tzur Yisrael, V'golo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reishit Tzmicha Ge'ulatenu. Hagen Aleha B'Yevrat Chasdecha, Ufros Aleha Sukat Shomecha, Ushlach Orcha V'Amitecha Rasheha, Sarheha B'Yoetzeha, V'Takneim B'Eitza Tova Milfanecha, V'Natata Shalom Ba'aretz, V'Simchat Olam B'Yoshveha, V'Nomar Amen. O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love, spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen.
Amen.
All right, friends. Shabbat Shalom and good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.
This week, Parashat Vayelech, we have this Shabbos, and then next Shabbos, which is Parashat Hazinu, and then we have the Shabbat of Sukkot. And then the last, we don't read the last parsha of the book of the Devarim. We don't read that on Shabbat. It's never read on Shabbat. It's read only on Simchat Torah. So this is the next to the penultimate, which is next to the ultimate parsha. It's Vayelech, often read with last week's parsha, Nitzavim. At this point, Moshe is really winding down the series of speeches that he's been giving throughout the book of Devarim. He announces that he is 120 years old and that he can no longer lead the people. He reassures them that they will be successful in conquering the land, and he installs Yehoshua, as the next leader. Right? Joshua, along with Caleb, are the only two from the generation that was wandering in the desert, from that original generation that came out of Egypt, who will enter into the land. Everybody else will be dead. Moshe right now is the last one remaining who needs to die. He says to the children of Israel, Al tir'u, right? And that don't fear. Right, some form of al tirei, al tiru, al yirei is the most common, it's the most stated line in the entire Tanakh. More than any other phrase, more than any other sentence, the words don't fear, whether they're in the singular, plural, or the masculine or the feminine, they are the most often cited lines in the entire Bible. Moshe writes down the Torah. Now, whether it's the whole Torah or the book of the Devarim, scholars will debate, and he gives it to the Kohanim for protection. And he tells them, read it every 7 years at Sukkot. There's no weekly Torah reading in Moshe's day. There's no weekly Torah reading up until, on Shabbat that is, until well past the biblical period, or well towards the end of the biblical period rather. But that's another story for another time. God tells Moshe that he will soon die. That's Moshe is going to die, not God. And to bring Yehoshua to the tent of meeting. There God reveals to Moshe that the people will worship idols and forsake the Torah, which is what Moshe has been preaching to them since the beginning of this book. Do not sink to idol worship. Do not forsake the Torah. God says that God's going to punish the people and abandon them. Right, and we know that. We know that that happens a couple of times in history. The most common or the most memorable one is the destruction of the first temple, where we're sent into exile, but then we're brought back, and then it's the exile after the second temple, where we remain in exile for almost 2,000 years until 1948, when we return to the land. The people, God says to Moshe, will realize that they are suffering because God is no longer in their midst. But God doesn't say how long it will take. Moshe composes a poem for them to read during those times, and that poem is coming up. So he is about to die. He hands the Torah over again to the Levitical priests to put in the Ark of the Covenant so that they may carry it with them. And like a true, I would call him an Ashkenaz Jew, he speaks to the people one more time and calls them stiff-necked. He yells at them one last time, and then he calls the elders forward so he can share the words of his poem. And that's basically it for the Parsha this week. The poem is next week. If you're keeping track of the mitzvot, there are two positive mitzvot. Numbers 612 and 613, according to Maimonides' count. And the last mitzvah is the mitzvah liktov kol echad meYisrael sefer Torah la'atzmo. That for each person, it is commanded that we each write our own Torah during our lifetimes. And we don't know, you can write a Torah in many different ways. You can write a physical Torah, right? So some people in more traditional communities, when they get a new Torah in their synagogue, they will pay a certain amount of money and get a letter, a word, a line, a parsha, an entire book dedicated in memory or in honor of someone. Some people they say that writing a Sefer Torah is how you live your life. So if you live your life honorably and follow the mitzvot, you are in fact writing your own Sefer Torah that way. But for all intents and purposes, with the third to last Torah portion, the mitzvot are completed, number 613. Shabbat Shalom. And, well, somebody said something on the computer. All right. So we are in the midst of the 10 days leading from Rosh Hashanah to Yom Kippur. And so I have 10 ideas for us to mark the 10 days, things that we can do to help us get in the mood for Yom Kippur, but also taking on some of the ideas from Rosh Hashanah about change and moving forward, some ideas for that. So number one that I like is take on a new mitzvah. Right? It doesn't have to be something spectacular. You don't have to decide that you're going to daven the 3 services every day. You don't have to take on the idea of putting on talis and tefillin out every morning. It doesn't have to be something complicated. It could be as easy as learning a new bracha, right? So if you eat a lot of fruit, and the fruit comes from the tree, there you go, right? So apples, oranges, plums, peaches, pears. Bananas do not come from trees. They actually grow out of the ground. It looks like they're coming out off the tree, but they're actually coming out of the ground. So that blessing is different than the one for the apple. You can learn a prayer, take the Shema, and recite the Shema in the morning and in the evening. Asher Yatzar, that's a good one, thanking God for giving us the body that works. And you could use that one multiple times during the day because that's the one you use when you come out of the little boys' or the little girls' room. Don't speak gossip is number 2. Try for an hour a day, 1 hour each day, not talking smack about anybody. Right? Lashon hara is really not gossip per se. Lashon hara literally means the evil tongue, but sometimes it falls. We call it gossip, and that is hurting people with the truth. Right? So somebody tells you a secret, or you know something about somebody and it's true, and then you're going to use that against them to hurt them. If you could go an hour each day without speaking Lashon hara, move to 2 hours, and ultimately work yourself up to a day, a week, a month, or to the point where you don't speak Lashon hara. Learn about ways of giving tzedakah, right? There are many, many, many organizations out there worthwhile. Jewish Veg is one. I sit on their National Board of Rabbis. They're always looking for tzedakah, Mazon, any number of places. And if you give to some already, find one more and give at least once a month to this new organization. Lots of organizations doing very important work in the Jewish community, not only in America, but in Israel and also in Europe. Study Torah once a week. That's an easy one, right? Take or suggest a class of mine, right? So we have classes all through the fall and spring. And if there's something you want to learn, let me know and we'll make it happen. Or you can read Tanakh. And you take a chapter a day. And over a period, I think, if you just take a chapter a day, a period of over 3 years, you can read the entire Bible. Takes a little bit longer if you take a chapter a day of the Torah, because you do that on Shabbat, but a chapter a day, Sunday through Friday, will get you through all of the the prophets and the writings in 3 years. Make Shabbat part of your life. Again, like with a new mitzvah, doesn't have to be big, right? Light candles at home. Have dinner with family and friends, but turn off the TV and the computer. Come to services. That's an easy one, right? Make Shabbat part of it. Right? Carve out some time for yourself and some time for your family on Shabbat. Turn off all the electronics. My phone goes off for Shabbat. My iPad goes off for Shabbat. My computer goes off for Shabbat. And they get a rest. I get a rest. The dogs get a rest. Read, take a walk, talk with people, do something to mark Shabbat as being different from the rest of the week. right? So if you go out to eat every day of the week, eat at home, eat with a friend. Don't let Shabbat just become another work day, another regular day of the week. Volunteer at the synagogue, right? We're always looking for volunteers. There are always things to get done. People sometimes volunteer to do things, they don't get done, but we need volunteers. And so if you can spend 2 hours a month volunteering here, I am certain that we could find plenty for you to do. Join a committee, lots of committees, and committees get tired of having the same board members on them. So just, if you're a regular congregant, ask to join a committee. It's your right as a congregant, as a member, to be on a committee if you ask. At least I think that is. Do you have to be a board member to be on a committee? There you go. We're like every other shul in the country then. If you're a member, you can be on a committee. Apologize to someone you've hurt or to whom you've been callous this past year. You've heard me talk about that a lot. And this is not just for the days of, we are in what's called the days of awe and wonder. It really starts with the beginning of Elul and all the way through Hoshana Rabbah. But the days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur take on the added term of being the days of Tikkun, the Yamei Tikkun, the days of repair. And so this is a perfect way to repair. Go green, right? This is for the environment. Recycle, change your light bulbs into these newer light bulbs that aren't as harsh on the environment. One of my favorites is to build a compost heap and take your leftovers and all sorts of things there. Don't waste things, right? All of that. Tread lightly on the world. Right, we talk about the carbon footprint, but you see, it's not just to make our lives better. There are generations coming after us. I have a nephew, and he's going to grow older, and he's going to have children, and they're going to have children, and they're going to have children. I'd like to see the world there for them. Right? It seems that a lot of people don't care. They're only thinking about themselves. I like to think about the generations coming. Pick a holy day. Pick a holiday and celebrate it big, right? We've got Sukkot coming up. We've got Hanukkah, Tu B'Shvat, Pesach, Shavuot, right? Come to the Tikkun, take on the fast during Tisha B'Av, right? Try something you've always wanted to do. Doesn't have to be the same holiday that you always do. Pick something. You don't do Tisha B'Av, you don't do Tu B'Shvat. Come to our Seder. You'll enjoy it. You'll get fruit. It'll be wonderful. And most of all, have fun. And then the last one is come up with something on your own, right? Start or find a Jewish book club. Let's see. Be grateful. Appreciate your life. All sorts of things. And then you can do one of the previous 9 for a month. And then when you get to number 10, you can come up with your own thing to do for the next month. So plenty to do between now and Yom Kippur and after. So this continues. This is a good list. So I hope you found something that you want to do. Wish you Shabbat Shalom and a Gemar Tov. Maury.
Kadoosh.
Kiddush. The first one of the new year. First one of the new year. If you don't include the one on Rosh Hashanah. The first Shabbos Kiddush. The first Shabbos Kiddush. And, ooh, it's over here. Vayihir vayivocher yom hashishi vayafulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzivaham vayachal Elohim vayom hashvi melachto asher asa vayishvot vayom hashvi mikol melachto asher asa vayavarech Elohim et yom hashvi'i Vayikadesh oto kivo shavat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim la'asot. Sabri baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, v'ahavat ufratzon, ifin lanu, zikaro lemase bereshit, ki hu yom tefila, l'mikra'e kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim, ki banu v'acharta, v'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, v'ahava ufratzon, inchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh Hashavat.
And a bissel sugar. Good for you.
It was a good week for the grape juice. Kedem grape juice, you can't beat it.
Grape juice is good.
All right, page 282. We'll continue as we close out our Shabbat evening services with Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon ha'kol, l'atef gdula liyotzeh reshit, shelo asanu goyeh haratzot, v'lo samanu mimishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu v'chol ha'onam, v'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוצר הארץ ומושך יקרו בשמיים עמו ושכינת זו בכל פר מרומים Hu Eloheinu Echad, Emet Malkeinu Efes Ulato, Hakatu V'Torato, V'yadata Hayom V'Hashemota, Elevavecha, Ki Adonai Hu Elohim, V'Shamayim V'Mol, V'Aharetz, Mikachat Einu. Kagatu b'toratecha, Adonai yimloch le'olam ha'ored. V'ne'emar, v'haya Adonai, l'melech al kol ha'aretz. V'yom ha'hu, yihyeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. As it is the period between Elul and Hoshana Rabbah, we do have Psalm 27. And so let's read that responsively in the English of David. Adonai is my light and my help. Whom shall I fear? Adonai is the stronghold of my life. Whom shall I dread? When evildoers draw near to me to devour my flesh, and my foes and enemies threaten, they trip and they fall. Though armies besiege me, my heart shall not fear. Should war beset me, still do I trust.
One thing do I ask of Adonai, it is that I seek to dwell in the house of Adonai all the days of my life, to behold the Adonai's sweetness and gaze upon God's palace.
God hides me in God's shelter in the day of evil, conceals me in the recesses of God's tent. On a rock, God raises me up.
And now my head rises over my enemies around me.
Let me
Let me
offer
offer
God's
God's
sacrifices with
sacrifices
joyous
with
shouts.
joyous shouts. Let
Let
me
me sing in hymns to
hymns
Lord.
Adonai.
Hear, O Lord, my voice when I call, and grant me peace and answer me.
Of
When
you
in
my
my
heart
heart
said,
says, seek my face, your face, Lord,
do
I
I
do
seek.
seek.
Do not hide your face from me. Do not turn your servant away in wrath. You are my help. Abandon me not, nor forsake me, O God of my rescue.
But
Though
my
my
father and
father
mother
and mother
forsook me.
Adonai
Adonai
will
gather
gather
me
me in.
Teach me, O Lord, your way, and lead me on the level path because of my adversaries.
Do
not
not
subject
subject
me to
me
the
to
will
the
of my
will of my
foes,
foes,
for false witnesses rose
rose
against me.
against breathers of violence.
Had I not the assurance that I would enjoy the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living.
Hope
Hope
for the Lord,
let your heart be firm and bold, and hope
hope
for the Lord.
Lulei hemanti l'Europa tu Adonai be'eretz chayim, kaveh el Adonai, chazak v'yametz libecha, v'kaveh el Adonai. This week we continue Shloshim for Victor Krupman. This week we observed the following yard sites. Betty Ann Keene, wife of Leonard, mother of Michael and Mark. Sari Lafrack Weiss, Didi Muffson's mother. Molly Goldston, Joan Lerner's mother. Ethel Gottfried, Herb Tesser's relative. Sylvia Greenwald, Diane Shuttles' aunt. Vera Zilberschatz, Valerie White's relative. George Uslin, Mark's father. Sally Zeviner, Nancy Sher Billig's aunt. John Burke, husband of Linda and father of Julie. Gorsey Kaplan, Saul's brother. Sophie Schreiber, Barbara Gross's mother. Deborah Solachek Napier, daughter of Mark and Sherry Solachek, sister of Stacy. Charles Michelson Bro, son of Charles and Shirley, father of Jonathan, brother of Sarah Lynn and Anthony. Violet Witcher, Rabbi Witcher's mother. Joe Harry Cohen, David Cohen's father. Yetta Kaplan, related to the Kaplans. David Lerner, Ike and Lenny's brother. May their souls be bound up in the bond of life eternal. May their memories be a blessing to us always, and may they all rest in peace.
Amen.
Find Mortar's Kaddish on page 294. Yitkadal, Yitkadash, Shenei Rabah, V'alman, Yivrach, Yirutei, Yamlik, Malchutei, V'chayecho, V'yomecho, V'chayei, V'cho Beit Yisrael, V'agamal, Bizman Karev, Yivru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Avraham V'orach, Elam Omer Maya. Yitbarach, Yishtabach, Yisbahar, Yitromam, Yitnaseh. V'yithadar, v'yithaleh, v'yithalal, Shmei v'kusha v'riku. Le'elah u'le'elah, mikol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechamata, la'amiram v'alma v'yimru, Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim alim v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru, Amen. Oseh shalom v'rumav, v'yaseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru, Amen. All right, friends, we are just about finished with the evening service. A couple of quick announcements. Service is tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. and again on Sunday at 9. Cemetery service 11:30 sharp on Sunday. Rain or shine, 11:30 sharp at the cemetery of the parking lot by the traditional cemetery. No classes for me this week. It's a busy week. Tuesday night at 7 o'clock, Kol Nidre, and then Wednesday morning starting at 10 and running pretty much from 10 until sunset, Yom Kippur. And you'll be getting an email with the times for the different services, approximate times for the different services. The only time that is for sure is that we're starting at 10 a.m. And then we'll be back for Shabbos and getting ready for Sukkot. So it's a busy week this coming week. So, all right, let us close out with Adon Olam, this first Shabbat of 5783. Adon Olam Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra, Li'et Nasa B'chefso Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, V'yacharei Kivot HaKol, L'vachado Iloh Nohora, V'hu Haya V'hu Hoveh, V'hu Yiyeh V'tifara, V'hu Echad V'yein Sheni, L'hamshilo L'hachbira, V'li Reshit V'li Tachlit, V'lo Ha'os V'ha'Yisra, V'hu Eli V'chai Goli, V'tzor Chedli B'yetzara, V'hu Nisi Humanos Li, Menat Kosi V'yomekra V'yahado Akid Ruchi, V'yetishan V'yahira, V'im Ruchi Giviyati, Adonai Li V'lo Hira. All right, we have some people saying good Shabbos to us via the interwebs. Let's see, I know at least one of them there. Yes. ML Glazer and Herman wish everyone a good Shabbat. Thank you, ML and Herman. Same to you. Donna Wilson, Shabbat Shalom to all. Thank you, Donna. Same to you. And there's Mom. Shabbat Shalom to all from Rabbi's mom, Cliff and Nathaniel. Oh, God's gift, Nathanael. My nephew is there with Mom, so that's wonderful. So thank you, Mom, Cliff and Nathaniel. All right, friends. Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos. We'll see you soon. And please, please be careful out there.
I gotta show you.